Rodgers assist, Watkins goal, and then you question your existence a little bit. And, should I even have wildcarded?
I think what he requires is just that level of consistency.
Anderson was my second top scorer with 3 points. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the SAFF Podcast. Today we have a guest with us, Taariq. It's nice to have you here. Taariq's a big Villa fan and an avid FPL player. So to get your opinions on Villa and Champions League today will be great. We're also joined by Mohammed Waseem as usual. How are you guys keeping?
I'm here again. I'm good after a successful wildcard.
Taariq, you also wildcarded. How did you feel about yours?
I thanks Bilal and Waseem for having me on. It's good to be on the show finally. I know Bilal, we spoke about this podcast for a while, so it's really good to be here. So I just played my transfer wildcard. I don't usually wait this long. I usually play it after the second or third week. We'd often get our teams wrong, for the first couple of weeks, and then I, frenzy, and I have to, set out and change stuff. So I've left it a bit late, even though it's 6 game weeks in. Somewhat successful. I've had Haaland for about the last 2 game weeks, and I wasn't able to triple captain him. It would have been great, but I had to, completely revamp my team. Really good additions, bringing in Joe Rodon for Leeds. I missed out on a clean sheet but got the goal. I brought in Antoine Semenyo and Jen Anthony, and they both scored for me as well. So decent.
Amazing.
Happy
what
with
moves, man.
Yeah.
Did you wildcard your Villa players out of the team?
Indeed, I did. Having Watkins and Rodgers on the back of last season, where they both had strong seasons, I'd say. Rodgers being the PFA Young Player of the Year, you would have thought that he would have continued his form from last season. Unfortunately, it just hasn't paid off for Villa this season. A very poor start.
I was the same. I pretty much only got rid of them now for this game week, and then Rodgers assist, Watkins goal, and then you question your existence a little bit. And should I even have wildcarded?
Absolutely. And I did make the mistake of, taking Watkins off. But
Let's get into Villa. While we're on the topic, we might as well. What has changed with Villa the start of the season? Do you think it's just a bad patch? Like from my personal opinion, watching the games, Watkins is missing a few, but Rodgers seems absent a lot of the time. So what would you say is the cause of all of this?
So, yeah, very fair assessment, Bilal. Both of them just missing, for the first 5 games at least, they've both been poor. And I think the issues that we're facing as a club now is very nuanced in the sense that it's not particularly anything on field that resulted from, last season. We ended the season FA Cup semi-finalists, narrow missing out on the Champions League again. And, Champions League quarterfinalists, which, to me was a successful season, I would say, relative to Villa's recent years. I think the issues arose, came about when we weren't able to make many transfers this season because of the financial fair play and PSR, the profit sustainability reporting regulations. We had to sell players. We couldn't really buy anyone. And I think it caused a lot of problems amongst players, probably, outside of the field. There was a lot of speculation that big names were going. Martinez, his deal to United fell off right at the end. There was talk of Rodgers probably moving on. Watkins has been, in the news since January, possibly moving to Arsenal, and then there was uncertainty at the end of the season. So I think a lot of players wanted to go, but they were obviously restricted the club as to how much we can actually sell. Yes, we couldn't buy anyone, but we didn't want to lose, some of our top players. So I think I have a feeling, and I can't say for certainty, but I just have a feeling that players like Rodgers and Watkins might have had the idea of, in their heads, they were moving on, and they had to stay at Villa because the club were just so desperate to keep the core of the club for 1 season more at least.
How does it feel to get the first win of the season? Do you think that's going to be the catalyst?
We got Burnley at home. I hope that we take the confidence from the convincing 3-1 win against Fulham on Sunday into Villa Park again. We've won our last 2 home games. Some promising performances by the likes of Watkins. I just want something from Rodgers, man. I want that dribbling ability, that that taking on ability that he had last season. There was something fresh to the league where, we often speak about Pep's widespread tactics and how it limits player creativity throughout other managers and how they try to mimic it. I think you look at players like Eze, like Rodgers, like Gibbs-White, and you see how they're not afraid to run with the ball and, show something for it without sticking to that static system, more dynamic. So I'm hoping that can translate into Sunday and we can, officially kick off our season
I think the good part is Villa have been reasonably tight defensively. So it's a decent foundation to build from. But they just, I think the main thing is just getting goals. And I mean, you even speak of Rodgers and being limited by Pep. He was the one that literally destroyed Pep's Man City at last season almost single-handedly.
It's a great analysis as well. And sticking to the fantasy football topic, any Villa assets that you would look to bring in?
Unbiased point of view, I have two horses on Villa assets at the moment. I think it's, let's not become complacent in selecting our teams after one game week. Let's see how it goes over the next 2 or 3 game weeks before committing to a player. Stick to Watkins if you've got him, but I don't think there would be any midfield or defensive options that you should necessarily bring in.
Let's get into your team, Mohammed Waseem, on your wild card.
Well, I made one really bad decision. I think up until 15 minutes before the deadline, I had Senesi in. Then I convinced myself somehow to play Van de Ven instead. And I'm still very frustrated from Saturday evening because I ended up losing that 7-pointer on the bench. I think in general it was fine. I think the Haaland captain was crucial for me. I guess the other important one was then bringing Gabriel in as well. So, I mean, with Arsenal's fixtures turning now in a very positive way, I said I probably need some Arsenal defense in there. I did go double up Gabriel and Raya. I'm not excited about my midfield. I went Foden instead to just try go a little bit differential. And Bilal, we spoke last week, and you said, "No, why don't you Kunku as a City asset?" And then I said, do I really want Doc? And I think he got a couple assists in the game, so a little bit unfortunate there. Reinders again, he looks like he doesn't really offer much besides the odd offensive contribution. I'm actually plotting a potential bench boost in this upcoming game because the fixtures look rather favourable. So I might actually consider that in this next week.
Let's talk about your team because you mentioned Spurs. So
yes,
Spurs versus Wolves. Talk us through that game and what were your thoughts on that?
Spurs had such a great first half with just no end product at the end of it, which was very, very unfortunate. I mean, they were creating a lot of chances. Kudus had the ball in the back of the net with offside, headed a ball straight at the keeper effectively from point blank range that the keeper just tipped over. Had a few good chances in the second half, changed the formation a little bit. They went back to a back five. Spurs barely put a glove on them after that. Very disappointing watch. The creativity hasn't necessarily been there this season. It's unfortunate at the moment, but I believe Frank will probably fix it over the next few weeks. I mean, there are a few players out injured, some of the creative players, but maybe Simons comes and turns it up eventually. Because there's that adjustment coming from the German-Dutch league into the Premier League is a bit of a step up. So hopefully it gets going soon and we can see some goals in the back of the net.
I want to ask, specifically around the 4 standout additions to Spurs this season. So I'll start with Thomas Frank, widely respected manager, good time at Brentford, and I think he deserved that step up. I think Spurs were the perfect club for him. In terms of the 3 transfers, you look at Javi Simmons, Mohamed Kudus, and Kolomwani. In terms of Javi Simmons, really good player, and we've seen him in Europe over the last couple of seasons. Very dynamic, very good on the ball, good dribbling ability, and I think, like you said, he deserves a bit of time. Kudus, another phenomenal player on his day. Obviously not the most consistent. We spoke about consistency earlier in this podcast, but I think what he requires is just that level of consistency.
Yeah, I guess his biggest problem is end product at the end of the day. So if you watch Kudus, he'll dribble everyone in the team. So I mean, I think currently in the season in Europe's top 5 league, he's got the most take-ons completed. But at the end of the day, there's output in terms of goals is absolutely nothing at the moment. He's got like 4 assists, but the thing is the assists have come effectively in I think within like 2 games. Kolomwani unfortunately has had a dead leg for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I think Paulinho is the other player that
yes, he's actually been a great signing for us. Good. Amazing signing.
Really good midfielder, very commanding, up the field, down the field, just all around great ability.
I'm just going to go through my team and then we can talk a bit further about more of the other matchups, particularly Brentford. That'll be a fun topic. But for me, just an all-round disappointing week. So basically, I had Haaland with 48 points. Then Anderson was my second top scorer with 3 points. So rather a bad game week. But dull game week for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of big names didn't have returns. A lot of the goals came from low ownership players.
Have you noticed how many teams are doing a long throw this season? It's actually shocking.
Yeah.
It's like we've gone full Stoke City, yes. Full
Rory Delap region, yeah.
There's like every team has a long throw. It's so amazing.
I do miss that traditional 4-4-2 Brexit
Same,
football, as they call
same.
it.
I think
The other one with a few controversial decisions was Brentford against Manchester United. So the penalty that Fernandes missed in the end, there was quite a hot topic. Was that a red? Was that not a red? Because it's quite clear that there's just no intention to play the ball. That's the
None whatsoever. And I think,
definitely a red.
I think that's where it differs from the other ones that we spoke about. There was no intention to play the ball. It was just to get the man down. And if you're 1-on-1, it was clear that it was just him facing the keeper. You've got to be consistent with those. You just have to say, that's just a blanket statement, a rule, red card. So I was going to mention as a wildcard option for FPL. I've been very impressed with Igor Thiago. Works hard off the ball, and I think I might consider, if João Pedro doesn't get a goal soon, I might, take him out and bring Igor Thiago in for him.
Do you think Almiron stays? I mean, I can't see him staying much longer now.
Who replaces him? That's the question, right? They'll probably have to find someone first before they can make that call. But they've got to start talking to someone now, and once they said, okay, they're keen, then say, okay, let's ship this guy and bring the new guy in. I mean, look at which was at the West Ham sacking over the weekend. Saturday, Potter sacked. Saturday, Nuno appointed. Monday, Nuno's in the dugout. Amazing.
But what a game, and how well did West Ham play?
They played very well. They should have actually won the game.
Yeah, I felt like if it wasn't Fulkrug up front, it would have been better. He missed a lot.
I mean, and Bowen seems like a proper option at the moment because Nuno's going to have his talisman that goes in. But maybe Nuno thinks Fulkrug is Chris Wood again.
I think Wilson should come into that team. I don't want to talk about Liverpool or Chelsea really.
I would like to talk about Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, looking at that Liverpool game, I was quite surprised with the lineup as well. We're just off the pace completely. Palace played very well. I think
Palace are the bogey team, man. It's just that it's just Ismail Sarr doing Ismail Sarr things against Liverpool. You just jam.
I knew as soon as I saw his name, I'm going to be a goal, yeah.
So one of my biggest regrets is Villa fans. Us not getting Ismail Sarr. He had a medical at the club.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Just over 2 years ago, and it fell through at the end because of a wage dispute. Since then, he's gone on to score 8 goals against us.
Yes, because they always say play Sarr against Aston Villa because he always scores.
Yeah. So Liverpool and Villa just go captain, go bold, and triple captain if you want. You might just get something. What strikes me from all of their signings, apart from Wirtz, who's been quite disappointing, Milos Kerkez, I'm not too sure if that was the right move.
Yes.
So one very good but not excellent season from him, and he gets signed by Liverpool for big money, and I think it was a little bit premature.
Yeah, so he probably needed another one before the big money move, because that Trafford guy looks quite solid in that Bournemouth team as well. I would think that, or rather, I think that Guehi move falling through is probably the biggest issue for Liverpool this season, because the problem is if you take Konate out, who do you put in there? Because Gomez doesn't look like he's up to scratch. That Leone guy is now injured. The options there, I mean, do you drop Endo there instead? Probably not good enough for that role, right?
Let's look at the fixtures for next week. The standout fixture for the week is Chelsea versus Liverpool, which will be a big test for both. And based on how both are performing, should be a lot of goals.
Chelsea have no centre-backs. Got injured.
I guess I'll keep an eye on the game tonight and see how they play. Potentially, you could captain Salah this week.
Yeah,
Salah. I need him to touch the ball a little bit more in dangerous positions because it's not like he's missing chances. He's not getting them.
Other fixtures like City would be playing Brentford, so City away to Brentford. That'll be the other captain choice with Haaland.
Yes,
I think that'll probably be the most captained.
It might be a very tough game for City. Look at Brentford's form this season. They've not picked up an away win, but they've won all 3 of their home games. So
yes.
I think Pep would be very worried going to this ground where they're in full confidence on the back of that United win. It might not be as straightforward as the Burnley win where they were at home against a weaker side. I think, between Salah and Haaland, I've also got both of them in my team. Probably going to risk just taking Haaland and giving him the captaincy. I just see him scoring and doing more likely.
Yeah. But Salah has a great record against Chelsea, doesn't he? Usually. So I think that's also makes him quite tempting as a captain choice this week. We can start now picking captains against Forest because they're going to concede goals.
Taariq mentioned João Pedro to Thiago, but I mean, you can easily go João Pedro to Voltemada against
Yes.
Forest this week. His minutes are still not at 90.
It's not secure
They
at the
take him
moment.
off between 60 and 80 minutes. He's off.
There's actually not many great captaincy options this week, I think, besides for Haaland and Salah.
Yeah,
I don't see many.
Would have been
I
an
want to
option.
say Gyökeres against if Potter was there. But with Nuno there, you know
If
there's
Potter
going to
was there,
be
for
some
sure.
solidity there in West Ham.
Yeah, but maybe Watkins.
Maybe Watkins,
I think
maybe
Watkins
Bruno
has a
Fernandes.
shot.
No, not
Bruno
against Sunderland.
Fernandes versus Sunderland. Believe at Old Trafford. Fernandes 89th minute penalty.
I don't know. I wouldn't
Difficult.
risk United assets at all at the moment. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Looking forward to this next game week. Unfortunately, we're back onto the international break. I'm still going
After
to really
that.
consider bench boosting this game week.
Thanks, Taariq, for coming on and filling in for Razine. We hope to have you more on the show, and yeah, good luck with this next game week.